In this lecture, we are going to be talking about mood disorder and how to deal with mood disorder. But first, I want you to understand the difference between mood disorder and bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder, as the name entails, is based on a bipolar system where you have two extremes where you fluctuate in between. You have a depressive episode and a manic episode, both of them linked to different emotions, feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. Mood disorder, on the other hand, can be a fluctuation between numerous different mood fluctuations and systems that can leave you with different reactions, behaviors, and thoughts. The first exercise you can use as a coping mechanism is called the paper and pen exercise. There will be a link to an article talking about all the different moods that we can experience. And what you need to do, try to do it 10 times a day, where you pause at certain and precise times every single day. Make sure that you do it at the exact same time every day for 5 or 10 times, where you will take a paper and pen, read through the moods list, and write down all the different moods that you think you're experiencing. What you'll be able to do next is to identify the trigger system. You'll identify what it is that triggered the mood once you're aware of the mood itself. If it's negative, then there might be a negative trigger that caused this certain mood to fluctuate. Then you need to objectify. You need to stop thinking in terms of emotions, and you need to start thinking objectively using logical and reasonable criticism. How did this trigger affect you? Is it a reasonable trigger to stimulate certain moods, or are you just reacting on a subjective basis? Are you reacting with your thoughts and emotions and feelings, or are you reacting with logical and reasonable explanations? If your interpretation is emotional, you need to do a shift towards an objective explanation. You need your interpretation to be based on logic and reason. And then you think about it. Whatever the trigger is it logical for us to feel the certain mood based on the trigger we experienced? And oftentimes mood disorder is based on emotional fluctuations, which, once controlled by logic and reasoning, you can have a lot of control over it, which will then be able to help you to avert, control, and move away from this mood fluctuation when it comes to certain triggers stimulating certain mood states. There are some general things that you can also do to make sure that your mood is healthy and not fluctuating as often as it usually does. Take care of yourself, especially when you're going through mood turbulences. Always be mindful and aware of what is going on inside of you, and make sure to keep up a healthy lifestyle, because a toxic lifestyle would translate into negative emotions, and then different triggers would be empowered by those negative emotions, which would then result in negative, unwanted mood states. Now there's another method you can use. It is referred to as the puzzle method. At the basis of mood swings, there are different pieces and elements. Once connected, can form the bigger picture for you to understand the mood disorder. It might not be just one trigger. It might be a different sequence of triggers, an ensemble of triggers and causes and stimuluses that are causing this certain mood disorder. So once you're writing down all the different moods you're experiencing, try to branch out different triggers that you might be experiencing for you to keep in mind that it might be not just one trigger that's stimulating this mood disorder, but it can be numerous triggers that are stimulating a certain mood state that you are trying to avoid. And lastly, the emotional attribution system. If you cannot think about the trigger, From a logical, reasonable, and objective standpoint, try to use the emotional attribution system to your advantage. What this system will help you do is that you will basically use the trigger to influence your emotions and feelings in a positive way. You will reinforce positive emotions by looking at the positive side of those triggers and their effects. And if you can't find any, try to avoid the trigger. Forget about it and let it go without judgment, and focus on more emotional triggers that are linked to more positive moods, which can help you do this switch from the bad, negative mood state that you're in to a more positive mood state.